then we ought also talk over together this whole question of sorrow. You don't mind? Because man and woman, children throughout the world, whether they live behind the iron curtains, which is most unfortunate for them, whether they live in South Asia or India or Europe or here, every human being, whether they are rich or poor, intellectual, or just ordinary laymen like us, we all go through every form of suffering. Have you ever looked at people that have cried through centuries, through thousands of wars? The husband, the wife, the children. There's immense sorrow in the world. Not that there is not also pleasure, joy and so on. But in understanding, in perhaps ending sorrow, we'll find something much greater. So we must go into this complex question of sorrow. And whether it can ever end, or man is doomed forever to suffer. Suffer not only physically, which depends how ordinary life one leads, whether your body is drugged or tobacco, nicotine, alcohol, and all that, whether your body has been destroyed. And psychologically, inwardly, we have suffered enormously, without perhaps not saying a word about it, or crying your heart out. And during all this long evolution of man, from the beginning of time till now, every human being on this earth has suffered. Suffering is not merely the loss of someone you think you like or love, but also the suffering of the very poor, the illiterate. If you go to India or other parts of the world, you see people walking miles and miles to go to a school, little girls and little boys. They will never be rich. They will never ride a car. Probably they'll never have a hot bath. Wear one sari or one dress, whatever they wear, and that's all they have. And that is sorrow. Not for the man who goes by in a car, but the man in the car looks at this and is in sorrow if he's at all sensitive, aware. And the sorrow of ignorance, not ignorance of writing, literature and all the rest of it, but the sorrow of a man who doesn't know himself. There are multiple ways of sorrow. And we're asking, can this sorrow end in with each one? There's the sorrow of oneself, in oneself, and the sorrow of the world. Thousands of wars. People maimed, hurt, appalling cruelty. Not a particular form of cruelty, of which you're talking a great deal, a particular form. And you're rebelling against that particular form. But you never ask, is there an end to cruelty? Every nation on earth has committed cruelty. It's appalling. And we're still perpetuating that cruelty. And cruelty brings enormous sorrow. Seeing all this, not from a book, not from a traveler, not from a tourist. Tourists go abroad just to amuse themselves, see sights and having a good time, a holiday. But if you are traveling as a human being, just observing, being aware sensitively to all this. Sorrow is a terrible thing. And can that sorrow end? Please ask yourself that question. The speaker is not stimulating you to feel sorrow. The speaker is not telling you what sorrow is. It is right in front of us, right inside you. Nobody needs to point it out. If you keep your eyes open, if you are sensitive, aware of what is happening in this monstrous world. So please, ask yourself this question, whether sorrow can ever end. Because like hatred, when there is sorrow, there is no love. When you are suffering, concerned with your own suffering, how can they be loved? So one must ask this question, however difficult it is to find, not the answer, but sorrow, the ending of sorrow. What is sorrow? Not only the physical pain and the enduring pain of a person who is paralyzed or maimed or diseased, but also the sorrow of losing someone. Death. We'll talk about death presently. Is sorrow self-pity? Please investigate. We are not saying it is or it is not. We are asking, is sorrow brought about by self-pity one of the factors? Sorrow brought about by loneliness? Feeling desperately alone, lonely. Not alone. The word alone means all one. But feeling isolated. Having in that loneliness no relationship with anything. Is sorrow merely an intellectual affair? To be rationalized, explained away? Or to live with it without any desire for comfort? You understand? To live with sorrow, not escape from it, not rationalize it, not find some elusive or exclusive comfort, religious or some illusory romantic escapes, but to live with something that has tremendous significance. Sorrow is not only a physical shock. When one loses one's son or husband, wife or girlfriend, whatever it is, it's a tremendous biological shock. One is almost paralyzed with it. Don't you know all this? And there's also the sense of desperate loneliness. Can one look at sorrow as it is actually in us and remain with it, hold it, and not move away from it? Sorrow is not different from the one who suffers. The person who suffers wants to run away, escape, do all kinds of things. But to look at it as you look at a child, beautiful child, to hold it, never escape from it. Then you will see for yourself, if you really do it deeply, that there is an end to sorrow. And when there is an end to sorrow, there is passion. Not lust. Not sensory stimulation, but passion. And very few have this passion, because we are so consumed with our own griefs, with our own pains, with our own pity and vanity and all the rest of it. We have a great deal of energy. Look what is happening in the world. Tremendous energy to invent new things, new gadgets, new ways of killing others. To go to the moon needs tremendous energy and concentration, both intellectual and actual. We've got tremendous energy, but we dissipate it by conflict, through fear, through endless chattering about nothing. And passion has tremendous energy. That passion is not stimulated. It doesn't seek stimulation. It's there, like a burning fire. It only comes when there is the end of sorrow. And when you have this sorrow, ending of it is not personal, because you are the rest of humanity, as we said yesterday afternoon. We all suffer. We all go through loneliness. Every human being on this earth, rich or poor, learned or ignorant, everybody goes through tremendous anxieties, conscious or unconscious. Our consciousness is not yours, it's human consciousness. In the content of that consciousness is all your beliefs, your sorrows, your pities, your vanities, your arrogance, your search for power, position, wealth, and all that. All that is your consciousness, which is shared by all human beings. Therefore, it's not your particular consciousness. And that, when one really realizes that, not verbally or intellectually or theoretically or as a concept, but as an actuality, then you not only kill another, hurt another, but you'll have some other thing which is totally different, of a different dimension altogether. We want to talk over together to what is love. I hope all this is not boring you. If you want to take a breather, it's all right. As I said, as the speaker said, we ought to go into this great question of what is love. We use the word love so loosely. It's become merely sensuous, sexual. Love is identified with pleasure. And to find that perfume, one must go into the question, what is not love? Through negation, you come to the positive, not the other way around. Am I making myself clear? Through negation of what is not love, then you come to that which is immensely true, which is love. So, love is not hate, that's obvious. Love is not vanity. arrogance. Love is not in the hands of power. The people who are in power, wanting power. It doesn't matter over a small child or wanting power over a whole group of people or a nation. That surely is not love. Love is not pleasure. Love is not desire. I don't know if we have time to go into the question of desire. Perhaps we may. Love is certainly not thought. So, can you put aside all that? Your vanity, the sense of power, however small, however little it is. It's like a worm. And the more power you have, the more ugly. And therefore in that there is no love. In your ambition, when one is ambitious, aggressive, on which you're all brought up, to be aggressive, to be successful, to be famous, to be known, which is also utterly childish from the speaker's point of view. How can they be loved? So love is something that cannot be invited or cultivated. It comes about naturally, easily, when the other things are not. And in learning about oneself, one comes upon this. Where there is love, there is compassion. And compassion has its own intelligence. That is the supreme form of intelligence. Not the intelligence of thought, intelligence of cunning, deceptions and all the rest of it. It's only when there is complete love and compassion, there is that excellence of intelligence which is not mechanical.